John Brown was born in 1800 in Connecticut to Owen Brown, the founder of the abolitionist Oberlin Church and a founder of the Western Reserve Anti-Slavery Society in what is now Ohio. At 16, John Brown enrolled in a preparatory program. He did not complete it. He transferred to Morris Academy hoping to become a Congregationalist minister. He failed to complete the program. He married Diane Lusk in 1820. They had 7 children. In 1825, he moved to Pennsylvania, bought 200 acres of land, and followed in his father's footsteps by opening a tannery. Within a year, it employed over a dozen men. In 1831, one son died, business began to suffer, and he was deep in debt. In the summer of 1832, his wife Diane died shortly after the death of a newborn son. A year later, Brown married 16-year-old Mary Ann Day. They had 13 children. They moved to Ohio in 1836, where Brown opened another tannery and entered the horse and sheep breeding business. He became an expert in sheep and wool. Elijah P. Lovejoy, a Presbyterian minister and a newspaper editor in Illinois, was murdered by a pro-slavery mob in 1837. Brown declared,
"Here, before God, in the presence of these witnesses, from this time, I consecrate my life to the destruction of slavery."
His business failed during the economic crisis of 1839. He was jailed for squatting on a farm he no longer owned. A court declared Brown bankrupt in 1842.
In 1846, he started a wool commission with the goal of representing farmers' interests versus New England manufacturers' interests. No progress was made. He traveled to Europe to reach an agreement with manufacturers there. It failed, causing a huge loss of $40,000 for the commission's investors. In 1855, Brown's sons were residing in Kansas, a territory where the populace would be able to decide whether slavery would be legal when it entered the Union. They let Brown know that they feared for their safety because the pro-slavery people were militant. Brown went to Kansas to fight for abolition and protect his family. There he was enraged at the violence of the pro-slavery contingent as well as his anti-slavery brethren for their unwillingness to match the passion of the pro-slavery forces. On May 24, 1856, it is suspected Brown and his family ordered, if not participated in, the murder of 5 pro-slavery settlers, including 3 former slave hunters, at Pottawatomie Creek, Kansas. In August 1856, a force of pro-slavery Missourians invaded Kansas. Among the casualties was Brown's son, Frederick. John Brown's men were outnumbered 7-1 and were defeated soundly. Regardless, his bravery was praised far and wide. This gave him confidence to think on a larger scale. He left Kansas 2 years before the popular vote on slavery and spent the next 2 years traveling in New England, raising funds for an uprising. During his travels, he met Ralph Waldo Emerson, Henry David Thoreau, Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass, and William Lloyd Garrison.
On October 16, 1859, John Brown led a raid on the Federal Armory at Harper's Ferry. Brown prepared for the attack 4 miles from Harper's Ferry at the Kennedy farmhouse. His contingent consisted of 16 white men, 3 free blacks, and 2 slaves. They bore nearly 200 Beecher's Bibles, 52 caliber carbine rifles donated from northern abolition groups. Brown's plan was to seize the arsenal's weapons and march through Virginia, arming liberated slaves along the way. The surprise attack allowed Brown to gain control of the armory quickly. The next day they were discovered by the local militia and surrounded. Word of the attack reached Washington, D.C. President Buchanan ordered Colonel Robert E. Lee to lead a division of Marines to put down the insurrection. Realizing his escape was cut off, Brown retreated into the firehouse where he thought he would take his last stand. Refusing to surrender as his men were being gunned down around him, Brown was unwavering in what he considered his final moments.
This mission was another failure. Of the 21 men who took the armory, only 4 escaped. 10, including 2 of Brown's sons, were killed in the battle with Colonel Lee, who lost 1 soldier. The remaining 6, including John Brown, were captured alive, tried, and convicted of treason. They all were hanged.
John Brown resorted to fanatical violence in an attempt to end a great injustice. How extreme have other recent people been in their quest for justice? Some are willing to sacrifice their health and well-being so others can stay in what may be the only home they've known. In an attempt to prevent abortion, some people are willing to bomb clinics and murder physicians. In 1995, Tim McVeigh was so fearful of the United States government taking away his personal freedoms that he bombed the Murrah Federal Building in Oklahoma City, killing 168 people, including 19 children. Of course, 9/11. What are you willing to do?